but for a month, we're just going back to just doing shows by ourselves.
Yeah, the entire month of August. Sorry, the entire
I want
month
to
of
drink
August.
some freaking Pinot Noir. I want to drink some Riesling.
Yeah.
I want to get back to our roots. I'm just pumped.
We're going to dig through our collections, drink some shows out of stuff we've been collecting for a while. Chaz goes down to Roseburg, buys a new show on the spot. That's what we've got for you tonight.
Yeah, this is crazy. So I was rolling through Elkton, Oregon. My parents live in Roseburg, and my dad lives out on the coast. And so I was rolling through Elkton, Oregon, and I knew about Brandborg. We've had their wines. I know we've done one of their wines on the show before.
At least, maybe more.
At least, once or twice. A lot of shows. Right? And so they have a tasting room right off the highway, right in Elkton. And so pulled off, got real fortunate to run into Sue Brandborg. Brandborg, right? Yeah. Okay, Brandborg, just making sure. Run into Sue Brandborg that was there in the tasting room and was tasting to me through a whole bunch of wines. Crazy experience. They've got this table sitting behind to the edge of the counter, all these old wines sitting on it. I'm like, so what's the story with these? She's like, yeah, we sell our library wines out of here. And I'm like, these are really reasonably priced, right? $20 a bottle for a vertical of 2005 through 2009 Riesling, all from the same vineyard site in Elkton. Yeah. So as far as I know, this is all grapes from their estate, like essentially their vineyards that they planted. And it's all pretty dry wine. It's very, very close to dry. So.
Yeah, and we just discovered that Elkton was declared as an AVA in 2013. So all of this was produced before then, right? So
Correct.
This is all Umpqua Valley Riesling.
Yeah, it says Umpqua Valley on the label.
But Elkton's an AVA today.
Yep.
We'll talk some more after this. Let's try this.
Yeah, let's try it out. So this is the 2005. The color looks great, actually, for being 12-year-old Riesling.
I would never guess based on the color.
Right? Yeah. It's perfectly golden. So
smells a little bit of age, but like nice apples, right? A little bit of apple peel, a little bit of oxidation, pretty solid.
Yeah, a little oxidative, but also a little of the petrol-y thing that you get sometimes in Rieslings.
But just a little bit.
And
I feel like out of Riesling, especially American Rieslings that are 12 years old, normally there's a ton of it, right? And this is a very modest amount, I think. It's quite nice.
Yeah, a little bit of pear fruit, a little bit of apple fruit, a little honey. It smells really nice.
Man, this is really cool on the palate at this price. It's kind of dry and simple on entry, but there's a really nice pop of apple fruit with a good sense of depth and complexity on the mid palate. And what really strikes me about this, in contrast to a lot of American Rieslings, is that it is so clean and dry on the mid palate and the finish.
Right, and really sort of gentle with the attack too. Sometimes they can kind of have like a very strong, almost like gritty feel to the acidity, like really, really strong. This doesn't have any of that. Very, very easy to drink, delicious.
Yeah, and I would love to pour this blind for people, because I think there are a lot of folks that would say like this wine isn't coming out of the United States at all, even.
Very possible.
But this is like a really nice entry level.
What would you think this was if it wasn't American?
I would guess Rhine somewhere.
Yeah,
not Mosel.
Alsace, maybe.
Actually, that's an even better guess. I don't drink a lot of Alsace wine, but that's even more reasonable.
But they're always like it's kind of Alsatian in the sense that it's like very, very lean fruited.
Yep.
A good amount of like minerality essentially with like acidity, and not at any point overstated. So
nerds, I'm sure you could send them an email and get a hold of this online. I'd say just for your academic experience, send them an email.
Interesting.
Get yourself a bottle of this. I'm really intrigued, and it's really exciting. Yeah. So I guess you can do the rinse.
Yeah.
I'll run my mouth some more. One of the things I've also really liked about Brandborg is that they've been really focused on Riesling, and they made an effort to promote their Riesling in the Oregon market, which I definitely understand. Like a lot of people, really from anywhere outside of the near Willamette Valley, trying to get in the Portland market is a challenge, because there's a lot of people with personal connections, a lot of people with local history, and the fact that they're trying to do it and really promoting their Riesling, I think, shows a commitment to the grape and the style. Good on you. I'm really excited.
Agreed. There's some sort of group that like is focused on promoting Oregon Riesling, or like a group of people that grow Oregon Riesling growers.
Sure.
I can't remember the name of the group, but they're a part of that with a focus on
that would make
pushing Riesling.
And right? I should know, but they all get together and taste. I forget the name because it's an industry only thing, right?
Right.
But thanks to you guys for coming up to participate with that.
Right, and thanks for putting so much effort into Riesling, right?
Yes, and seeing what we can do in the southern part of Oregon in bringing the the Elkton AVA's qualities into bottles of Riesling. So.
Yeah, and so what she said about the AVA in particular and why it kind of became its own AVA is that it sees a lot of coastal. It has a lot of coastal influence because of that, like sort of almost like an estuary, but like it's a very, very big river that runs inland and carries a ton of coastal, cool coastal climate.
Sure,
Inland, right?
yeah, and if,
so
if that's the pass through the range, right? That's
right,
yeah.
and the like whereas Roseburg and the rest of the Umpqua Valley is pretty warm, Elkton stays pretty cool comparatively.
That makes sense. Okay,
Right,
yeah,
so-
right along the river.
Yeah, okay.
So 2006, not such a cool year. I imagine
No,
it was
not at
pretty
all,
warm down
yeah.
there too.
So what's the difference here? We had 12.9 alcohol on this guy, and we had 13.5 on the last one. I never would have guessed. Wow,
Buy a bottle of that 5. That's really cool.
that's pretty good. Yeah.
This is definitely a little more stinky.
What do you mean with stinky?
A little bit of like dried grass, forest floor. A little funky. You?
I don't get that so much. It just doesn't have any of the sort of oxidative or petrol-y notes that the
No.
last one had. Like this one's definitely more just like fruity. Like maybe it's got a little bit of the funkiness that Riesling can sometimes have, but
Yeah.
But how would you describe that? It's like I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's a little funky. We'll just leave it at that. If I,
Yeah, I don't know. Some apple fruit.
mm-hmm.
Pretty simple though. Apples, pears. Yeah.
Yeah, not terribly engaging nose. That's but that's all right. It's nice after you have a great experience with the first wine, right? It's easier to be critical of the ones downstream. More acidity here, it feels like.
Big time.
Definitely a little more dry across the palate.
Yep. And whereas the last one was somewhat lean and somewhat, I'm almost on the point of being austere. This one's definitely got more fruit right up front, a little more body, and a lot more acid.
Yeah, it feels like there was a little sweetness in there, but I feel like the age has kind of wound that down a little bit, where the acidity is more the dominant quality.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's just stuff coming out of the aromas, but I'm getting a little bit of those funky characters.
On the palate too?
Yeah, coming through on the palate.
Oh.
I'm really glad that you're having this reaction because usually it goes the other way around. Chad's a little more sensitive to this stuff than I am.
Yeah.
But it's kind of distracting for me, but apparently it's not that way for everybody. So.
No, and this is sort of more in the range of what I expect from Oregon Riesling. It's got a bit of the sort of like green apple, like Granny Smith apple thing. Maybe even like green grapes, like fresh grapes. Touch of pear fruit. There's like
I'll give you that. Yeah, that's definitely in there.
touch of minerality. What's this? Is this 7?
This is the next
I
one.
just poured. I still had some 06 in my glass.
This is your rinse. This is still a good rinse. Don't interrupt your train of thought. You're
All right,
busy
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about the 6.
Anyway, I like the 5 better.
Yeah, we got 5 wines on the table. We got to keep moving.
Yeah, I guess
I can't remember the last
Can't
time
ramble
we've
too
done
long.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so this is the 2007 Brandborg Riesling.
Yep.
Umpqua Valley still.
Another cool year.
Right.
We got the off-camera pour over
Yep.
here. Trying to take it easy. Say hi, Joy.
Hello.
It's funny, like when I posted to Facebook for this, I was like, I had to buy it for science.
Yeah.
Justin's like, yeah, good kind of science. I'm like,
Done right. That's benefit of the wine is serious business.
that's right. Doing
Yeah.
science projects for you.
We've got an excuse to buy and drink 5 bottles of wine in one night. Thanks, Internet.
Oh man. Glad my mom doesn't watch every show. Turns out my dad watches a lot of the shows.
That doesn't surprise
Apparently.
me. Yeah,
He said he watched a
my
lot
dad
of-
likes to
My dad,
watch from time to
yeah.
time too.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad. Yeah, hopefully you guys see this one.
All right.
He likes the interviews, though. My dad likes the interviews.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Right on. Does this one have any funkiness to it?
A little bit, and I'm glad you said that because I was like, yeah, maybe it's just carryover for the previous class. But if we're both feeling it just a little bit, it's really,
This
I'll
one
say
still
20%
Okay.
of the previous one. It's
not distracting.
not so much.
Okay.
Like it's there, but it here it kind of turned me off. Here it's like, oh yeah, it's a little funky, but who cares?
And so this one's more reminding me of like the 05 in the sense that it's like more like honeyed and like apple fruit, really sort of gentle aromas.
Even a diesel.
Yeah, a little bit of the petrol note. Yeah,
Yeah.
a little touch of that.
Yeah, so good complexity on the nose. I really like that honey. Like it is engaging.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a good contrast. Like the funk is there, but it's just a part of the picture instead of dominating.
Agreed.
Wow. Also very nice on the palate. I'm not getting any of that funk. I'm getting more like delicate fruit, still with great presence. And fully drying acidity, maybe even just a
Big
touch
time.
alcohol light, but not enough where I'd be critical. Enough that you can sense it, but not enough that like, oh, what's going on here? It's still, this is well balanced. Yeah. Do you know if they've had the same winemaker through this time?
Yeah.
They have. Okay.
Yeah. So the Terry, the owner, or Terry and Sue are the owners. But Terry started winemaking in Southern California, I
Sure.
believe. Like she showed me a bottle of like his 1985 Mendocino
Yeah. Okay.
Riesling
okay.
or something, like some wine he had made down there, and said that it was fantastic. And so he really apparently started in Southern California just literally on his own, just had another
right.
job, just doing that on his
Make
own,
some wine, yeah.
making wine, and now he apparently they were doing well enough with what they were doing before to now that they purchased some land in
Move
Elkton.
up to Southern Oregon.
Yeah,
Man.
and started growing grapes. in
And really,
Elkton.
it's a cool area for those of you who never make it down to Southern Oregon, and you
Yeah.
imagine like the Rogue Valley, the Umpqua Valley, where it's a lot more hot. This is cool. You're really getting to the foothills of the Coast Range, right? I
Oh,
remember
Elk.
crossing that river, and you really feel like you're in kind of a remote, not quite wilderness area, but you're right on the edge. There are not a lot of
Right.
people around there.
No,
Yeah.
and Elkton's a very small city. I mean, we're talking
Yeah.
400 or 500 people.
Yeah.
It's really, really small, a village, essentially. But that highway, I can't remember if it's like I think it's called Highway 42,
Okay.
that goes from, it branches off of I-5 and goes down through Elkton and then heads out towards Reedsport, Oregon. One of the most beautiful drives you'll
Blew my
ever-
mind. I was just there. Yeah.
It's amazing, like driving down that highway. And I that was my whole childhood. Was like 3 times a year,
forth.
4 times a year. I drove down that highway, being dropped off by my parents. So,
Yeah, so if you've got time, if you're coming to Oregon for like 5 days of wine tasting, definitely do yourself a favor, go down to Southern Oregon for a day or two,
Yeah.
just to see some of these areas, because it's unlike, it's unlike anything else you've ever seen, almost certainly. Yeah, It's pretty cool. This wine I'm really digging.
yeah, this is really quite nice. I was really trying to think of like fruit profiles for this. Somewhere in the range of like branching on like honeydew melon.
Sure, a little
But
bit.
then, like, the first thing I thought of was, like, cherries for some reason. It's like a earthiness. There was, like, a small earthiness to the finish. It's not like cherry fruited. It's like cherry pith or something. It's like some sort of pith of something.
But it's riper and more present than the 5,
Agreed.
right?
Yep.
But it's still not over the top. There's again a really great sense of complexity.
Yep. I agree.
Yeah, that I think would really impress a lot of people, and makes me want to drink more Riesling from that region. Actually, that's pretty cool. So let's drink some more.
And
Riesling.
pretty dry. This one's going to
Also
be
dry.
almost closer to bone dry.
This next one you mean, or
The 7,
the
in my
7,
opinion.
yeah.
The 7 tastes closer to bone dry, whereas the 6 might have had a little bit of sugar based on the body difference.
which I feel like for the most part, dry Riesling in Oregon has really taken off more as a pretty recent phenomenon. I'd say within the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But these guys clearly have been making one in that style for quite a while, and I'm really suspicious. Maybe I wouldn't have even liked these on release, and they really came into their own.
I know,
after
like,
a
what were
decade.
these like on release? If these, like, this is a 9-year-old Riesling. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
have no idea.
Oh, Chaz is starting to get warm.
That's good. I don't know. Yeah.
right.
Well, we're both warm. That's good.
All right.
When we get to the next show tonight, that's when the good times really come.
Oh,
out,
we're
so.
not doing another show after this.
Yeah.
Bullshit. All right. Bleep that.
What do we got? 2000,
This is the 2008
2008.
Umpqua Valley still.
Famous year. All the hype. Is this the most hype vintage we've lived through? Right? Probably more than 12.
If
right?
you're talking press, yeah, 2008 was a
Yeah.
very hyped vintage in Oregon,
Yeah.
and I think rightfully so. If you're looking for really high quality wine, you really couldn't miss in 2008, right?
Yeah, I'd say,
couldn't miss.
and especially if you're buying stuff in the entry level range, that's one of the great years where, like, yeah, if you want to spend $20 on a bottle, it's still going to be really good, probably.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really can't fault it for that.
No idea what was going on in the South. No idea really what it was like for white wines. I'm still kind of building an opinion in my mind of what those vintages were like for whites.
I gotta say, some of the color on these, like this one in particular, just bright gold. It's beautiful. Anyways,
This is gorgeous. Yeah.
yeah. Man, this one's a little more petrol-y even than the first one.
Yeah, a little
Percent?
bit.
Yeah,
A little bit
I-
of concrete, a little bit of smashed pear, I think. Yeah.
I said gassy, and Sue was like, The hell? The hell you talk about? I'm like, no, I mean petrol. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like farts.
Now I got work to do. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. This smells awesome. So this of all four of them, this is my
Oh, really?
my favorite aroma
Yeah.
of all four of them. Yeah.
A little less so for me, but yeah, a little bit of that concrete thing. But there's a little more floral element here that the other ones didn't have.
Okay.
That definitely is enjoyable still.
This is like more like bordering on the honey crisp apple and petrol, like really bright, fresh, inviting flavors with like a hint of that like petrol aroma that brings you in. So tastes good.
Tastes good. This is also probably the sweetest of the four we've had. So I'm a little sucker for that. But when you talk about honey crisp apples, when you
Wow.
talk about honey in general, really great long, slow evolution into some powerful acidity towards the end, leaning towards limes and character. Really
agree
like
with
you're
you.
buying right
There
to
being
that
more
fresh
sugar on
lime.
this wine.
Yeah. And I think maybe
Wow.
more of that acidity is in there to try and balance that out. But I think it's done so effectively.
You're right about like the honey crisp apple thing. Like it's almost like biting off a big bite full of it. Like very sweet on the initial. I mean, I shouldn't say very sweet on the initial attack. Like a good
Fruit sweet.
sweet apple fruit
Yeah, not like sugar sweet.
on
yeah.
the initial attack, turning to like a citrus sort of like lime or
Yep.
sort of tart edge on the finish. A little bit of sugar in the cheeks. It helps extend the mouthfeel and the palate.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm right with you.
Wow.
That sugar really extends that nice ripe apple flavor out into the mid palate, but the acidity stays strong. Slowly rise up over that fruit, dries things out fully late.
That's surprisingly good.
Yeah, again,
Crushed it.
very well done, man. You made a good. I was sure. I was sure that we'd struggle with more of these. I thought
Right.
when you got a lineup of 5, I'm like, maybe we'll be really excited about 2. 3 really good ones and really noteworthy. I feel like anybody that's a Riesling lover really needs to try some of these wines.
Yeah, I'm just surprised at the difference in them. Like, one, I expected like there's something to be going on with these between like all these wines based on one being corked, because you know how cork enclosures are, right? But man, that's like still got a good amount of freshness and comparatively a good amount of petrol. Like I figured once we went into the screw caps, like the petrol thing was going to go away. We're still getting it on a couple of these wines.
Yeah.
And then the crazy thing, like the 6 so far, being that how fresh it was. Like you would never, this 11-year-old Riesling, like you would never,
Yeah.
probably think that. If
I
you were
would
blind.
never guess these ages
So,
blind.
yeah.
The acidity on this, as I have multiple sips, is getting really strong. So definitely, if you're an acidity hater, it's probably not for you. But it works out well for me. And again, I think the sweetness on the fruit does a great job
Right.
of balancing that out in the mid palate. So 2009.
So this
Nice
is
warm
the
year.
their new label and the label that they're currently using in all their wines. So I'm really glad to at least have one of their new labels.
Yeah.
Was able to pick that up. But yeah, 2009 Riesling.
Yeah, and I see it around Portland. So if you live in the area, I bet you'll see it around every once in a while.
And she poured the 12 for me, and the 12 was like similar to the 8. It was like petrol-y,
Yeah.
honey crisp apple, fresh, super inviting. And that's where I was kind of like, when I turned around and saw this sitting on a table, I'm like,
Yoink.
I'll take all of it.
Yoink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Good
anyway.
call. This is
Yeah.
I'm again. This is the kind of show that nobody else in the world is talking about, right?
Sure.
Like nobody that talks about wine anywhere has a 5-year vertical of Oregon Riesling
From Elkton.
From Elkton. Sit.
Yeah, no.
nobody else has
this.
that.
This is an experience that you really
Wine
you
is
can't.
serious
It's
business
hard to
exclusive.
replicate. So I was
Yeah.
like, man, I got to do this.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now this is funky.
Yeah.
Now this is funky nose.
Compared, I think to me the 6. I like this more than the 6, but
Yeah, you like this more than
I
this
do.
is?
But this is still strong in a different way, though. It's a little
Okay.
more like a little more citrus rind. Yeah, a little bit of. It's in a similar dimension.
I'm really trying.
Also, another warm year, and easily of the two, 6 and 9 would be the ones that you would pair together.
But
as
what
high-
is that? What did they have to do to the wine to make this aroma? I mean, like, was it just something like the way the grapes came in? I mean, people might know out there hot vintage, but like they pick whites typically first, or does Riesling come in last?
Late.
Even in Oregon?
Usually Riesling is
Okay.
is
Even in Oregon.
substantially later than Pinot Noir.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
a month later in some cases. Yeah.
Yeah, because this one's got it's like cabbage. Not cabbage, right?
No, it's not quite that far. It's funky, but let's move on. Yeah, the nose is not so great on the 9, but
Okay. Oh yeah. It's not like it's revolting. I'm not saying it like that. It's just I'm trying to put my finger on what the flavor is. So. Otherwise, light apple, light pear fruit, pretty
Yeah.
simple nose.
yeah, pretty comparable on the palate, I think too.
Yeah, that flavor does extend into the palate.
Yeah, a little funky, strong acid. The fruit's there, but it's delicate and kind of muted.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to leave it there. Hot years, not so great. Cool years, pretty great. Too bad we end up on a bummer note. Now we're back towards the proportion that I was kind of expecting, where maybe the 6 and the 9 don't really get my attention. But I think the 5 and the 7 particularly are truly noteworthy wines. And if you're interested in American Riesling or Oregon Riesling or trying something new that you've never experienced in your life, send these guys an email, give them a call, order some of these library wines and give them a shot.
I can honestly say, I really don't like this wine.
I'm not really feeling it either. Yeah.
It's like the apple fruit is there and it's nice, but it's like just sort of there's not an this is one where almost the acid is sort of like toned down, in my opinion, compared to the last wines, and it's just I don't know, it's just not as well put together as the last wines, especially coming off the 08 and going straight into this. Not my jam. Anyway, just
And that's not as interesting to talk about. But
sorry,
but
yeah.
We'll just move
We'll show you
back.
some key elements as like why, but yeah.
All
All right,
right.
so
I'm gonna drink a little more of that 7.
I even thought of a question to ask the audience, and
Now you're
I forgot it
too
already.
drunk to
So,
ask
yeah.
that question. All right.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Well, so I just want to say thanks to Sue Brandborg. When I stopped in at their tasting room in Elkton, she was so nice. Got to taste a bunch of their wines. Their wines are fantastic across the board. One of the few wineries in Oregon that do a white Pinot Noir every year.
Sure.
So if you're interested in that sort of variety or like that style of wine, I typically like them quite a bit. So that was the whole reason I started paying attention to the Brandborg in the first place.
oh, really? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, because so I ended up finding out about that apparently in like 2010 or 2000. I think it was 2010. They couldn't ripen their grapes.
Oh, so they just made the white. Yeah.
And so they made it white, and then after they started to ripen their grapes, then people were like, "Why don't you make the white Pinot Noir still?" And then, so they had to go back to.
Cool.
Even though they could ripen their grapes, they had to start making the white Pinot Noir.
Because
again.
people liked it. Let's work well
Exactly.
for a number
Yeah,
of people.
and
up
so
here.
I also picked up for a show a 12 and a 16 of that to try side by side.
Whoa, I have never
Yeah.
had an aged white Pinot Noir.
Exactly, right? Like so, that's something I'd like to get my hands on is some aged white Pinot Noir, just to see what it does. But anyway, thanks for watching our show. I appreciate it, and yeah, it's gonna keep us coming back and trying this shit out.
Yeah, and we avoided being political for a long time, but I'm not going to today. We love a bunch of white wine, but white supremacy is a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, fuck.
Yeah, fuck that.
Fuck
Fuck
that.
that. Thanks
All
for
right.
watching Wine is Serious Business. We'll see you later.
See you guys. Bye.